Okay, so you decided to configure your own dedicated server, or maybe you're still deciding. To help you with that, let's talk about, is your PC suitable to run a server? Suppose you have a personal computer that you don't use right now, or you want to buy a cheap, maybe used or new computer to use it as a server. What the specs should be. So you remember that my first dedicated server I set up for my small hosting business was an old PC with just 2 GHz processor and 2 GB of RAM and a small hard disk drive. And it was enough to run a virtual hosting service for 10 clients. These were fully functional websites, business websites, and email services. The actual specifications of your server must be determined based on the tasks and loads you want to expose your server to. Okay, so just as a virtual server, you can rent a dedicated or physical server from a provider. But usually it costs good money, it costs a lot. This is why we don't take this possibility into account in this course. But to have the idea about the configuration of dedicated servers, let's look at the configurations which service providers offer their customers. So this is the first example. This service provider offers not only a specific server hardware, but also has more basic configurations. So as you can see, they offer dual-core AMD processor with 2 cores by 2.6 GHz, 2 GB of RAM, 500 GB of hard disk space, and another configuration consists of Intel 8M processor. Actually, it's 8 cores by 2.4 GHz and 8 GB of RAM and a bigger hard disk drive. And here you can see configurations by another provider. They also offer AMD processors. As you can see, the basic configuration is dual-core AMD processor with 1.8 GHz, 4 GB of RAM, and 2 hard disk drives, each with 320 GB. So as you can see, most configurations are pretty basic ones. Your home personal computer or your gaming machine may be much more powerful than these servers. And if you even use your old gaming personal computer or the computer that you worked on a year or two ago, I'm pretty sure that it will do a great job as your home server, as your web hosting server, as long as you don't put extreme pressure on its central processing unit. And I'm sure you won't. So the simple advice about deciding whether your PC is suitable to run a server or not is to set up a Linux operating system, is to set up the whole software bundle on it and just test it. I'm sure everything will work okay, but it may depend on your workload, what you want your server to do. You will see if your server performs great or if your server performs too slow, and then you can decide. If you have a spare computer which can be used as a server, please, I encourage you to choose this option and set up a dedicated server. Okay, so the minimum requirements are a Pentium 4 1 GHz or equivalent processor, 1+ GB of RAM, 1 GB is okay actually, and a hard drive. A 60 GB solid disk drive or hard drive will be just fine. The more, the best. Why solid disk drive is a better option than a hard disk drive? Solid disk drives are more fast. They have higher write and read speeds, and your Linux operating system can use a part of your drive as a swap partition. Actually, it acts as additional RAM to your system, and if you think you have not so much RAM as you want to, you may use solid disk drive as an option to boost your system. But nevertheless, a basic hard disk drive will do a great job. Okay, let's move on. Fast internet connection, we talked about that. And you'll also need an integrated video card or an external card for setup process. Your server won't need a graphical card for day-to-day operation when it is set up and fully functional. But to install the operating system, you will need to plug in your monitor, obviously. This is why you will need a video card during the installation process. So I think now you're sure that your computer will do a great job for you, right?